Today we've got a very special video. I'm going to give you 2 hours of completely free knowledge on how to build AI infrastructure agencies to 5, 10, 15, 50k a month. And what I've done is condensed 2 years of my struggles into about 2 hours. So if you can't sit through this short video for the value you're getting, then it's going to be hard for you to succeed. I highly suggest you watch this if you're actually motivated and you want to make money online, you want location freedom, time freedom, you want to be able to work on your own terms. Then I truly believe the best vehicle for that is starting an AI agency. So without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, as you can see, I'm inside my laptop and I'm going to give away absolutely everything for free. The goal of this video is to give away more value than other people's 997 course or $10,000 program, because I want to say thank you guys for watching and supporting the channel. So I just want to give you guys as much back in return as possible. So let's get into this. Once again, there's timestamps, so you can skip to whatever part you want, whether it's appointment setting, sales, service delivery, pricing. It's all going to be covered in this video, so just skip to literally whatever you want. However, I'm just going to go through everything. So if you're a complete beginner and you're just looking to sell AI solutions, or maybe you want to include AI in your offer and you want to help people, then I recommend just watching all the way through, take notes, share it with your friends, and let's get into this. So the first place we need to start is who you're going to be helping. So obviously this is your niche. So niche selection is one of the most important things, because if you aren't familiar with the niche you're in, then it's going to make it very hard for you to scale. And the reason why is because in order to book appointments, you need to be able to resonate. And in order to resonate and to, get on the same page as your niche, you need to understand what pain points that niche has, because at the end of the day, we're just solving problems. So you need to understand what your niche struggles with. So that's why I recommend going into a niche that you know a lot about. And if you know nothing about anything, then I recommend just going with who you would want to help the most. So for example, when I started my agency, even though it wasn't an AI agency back in the day, I used to run a just regular SMMA in which I would outsource appointment setting to VAs for coaches. The reason I worked with fitness coaches was because I knew if I could get them clients, then they would be getting more people fit, more people healthy, and overall it would just be a better thing for the world. So that is why I went into my niche and I learned literally everything about fitness coaches, how much they charge, how much for group coaching, for one-to-one coaching. I knew their problems. I knew the fact that they didn't really know anything about funnels or creating free assets. So I was able to build an offer around the problems in your niche. And that is fundamentally the most important thing, is providing a service that the market wants. And that's why you can't just have like a copy and paste offer for every niche, because every niche has different problems. So I highly recommend doing some research. And the way in which you do research in your niche is by just getting as much inputs into the market to get data back, and then you can make decisions. So immediately just go with a niche that you know the most about and you want to help the most. And if you can do those two things, then you're going to do well. And that is basically pretty much all you should think about when it comes to niche selection. Now, obviously there's more things. However, those two things are very important, just understanding your niche. And that is where I would spend the most time, because if you really think about it, if we bring, let's say, sales to first principles thinking, and if you don't know what first principles thinking is, it's essentially bringing it to the core truths. So what is true about sales? Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to make money online and you're trying to sell AI solutions, you need to sell. So let's just take sales, for example. What is sales? Sales is getting a human to give you money, basically, in exchange for some type of value. That's what sales is on a very core fundamental level. Now, if we bring it one step down, how do we get people to give you money? You need to have a sales process. Now, another argument could be that sales is a transfer of emotion. So how do we build up emotion? We ask questions. We get the prospect to speak. How do we ask better questions? You know your niche better. So at the very bottom, it's got like the understanding of your niche, which is the most important thing. That's at the very bottom, which is vital. So you can see how understanding your niche will help everything above that, for appointment setting, for sales, for service delivery. So this is honestly one of the most important decisions you make, which is your niche. And all niches work. I'll give you that as a heads up. Every single niche works. It will just be your offer that won't work. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other things to think about in terms of like the purchasing power versus the total market volume. So obviously that coincides with your pricing structure, which we'll get into a second, and you need to make sure your niche can afford it. So there are other things to consider. However, understanding your niche and having experience in it and having a purpose for why you want to help them are probably two of the more important factors when it comes to choosing your niche. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully you got some notes around that. Now let's quickly erase this and now talk about your offer. So your offer, that is an awful O, by the way. Your offer is really important. So your offer should be explained in a single sentence. So let me try a sentence here. Because if you can't explain your offer in a single sentence, how on earth is your prospects going to understand what you do? And what happens is your offer correlates to your copy, and copy is your script. So email script, Instagram script, how you reach out to clients, and also what you put on your landing page for your funnel. So your offer is very important, and you need to be able to explain it in a single sentence. So for you guys who are selling AI infrastructure offers, where you basically just create an AI setter or some type of AI solution and you place it into businesses and you just let it go. So there's no fulfillment. And that is essentially how it works, but you need to explain that on a much simpler level, because you've got to understand that the people you're helping don't have as much like knowledge about AI and automation as you do. So for example, let's say you're helping real estate agents, your offer could be explained as this. Maybe I partner with, let's say, realtors, if I can spell, and implement AI. Let me actually make myself a bit smaller so you can see this. So implement AI to, let's say, save money, time, and I don't know, maybe increase let's just say, I don't know, and ideally you want a number. So you really want a number on a time frame. So another one could be, let's say I partner with coaches and implement a 3-step AI growth funnel to add 10K to their MRR in 30 days. That would be a great offer because it's got a quantifiable number, it's got a time frame, and what would make it even better is just some risk reversal. So let me repeat that. I partner with coaches to implement the 3-step AI growth funnel to add 10K to the MRR in 30 days, or you don't pay a single penny. That would be a really strong offer that would then correlate into your outbound and I guess, VSL. So it's really important to be able to explain your offer in a single sentence. Now, obviously, when it comes to that, you have like mechanisms in your offer. So mechanisms is how you actually deliver on what you say you're going to deliver. So for example, let's say it's a 3-step AI growth funnel, which just sounds good. You want to provoke curiosity. You want to, intrigue them. So mechanisms, obviously, if you're saying AI infrastructure, you want to put something in their business, AI, ideally, and the reason it works is because it's sticky. So you want something like an AI setter. It could be, let me actually do this on my mouse, otherwise it's going to be painful to watch. So an AI setter or an AI caller, or it could be, I don't know, what else is there? Maybe an AI database reactivation. Let's put database. Or maybe a combination of a few of these things. So an AI database reactivation, which means you send an SMS or email to their existing database, and AI carries out a conversation, books them in for an appointment, and you could place an AI setter. And that is essentially the mechanisms that make up the offer in a single sentence. So that is honestly really important. And you want to think about the mechanisms, and your mechanisms should be tailored to solve problems. So for example, if you're working with like coaches, maybe online coaches or online personal trainers, then you would essentially just have the AI Instagram bot to, let's say the Instagram fitness coach gets a new follower. The AI bot would message that follower to optimize for conversations, because making a lot of money isn't about having a huge following. It's about owning the attention of your existing following. For example, like I've got, I think 1K on Instagram. You can check it out, Charlie Barber Biz. And I literally make like multi-5 figures a month from 1K followers on Instagram. So it's not about the followers, it's about optimizing and how, optimize your funnel is and how well you're good at converting that attention. So placing an AI setter to message everyone who engages with your client's account is gonna literally dramatically increase their MRR. So not only is it saving them time, it's saving them money so they don't have to hire a stupid virtual assistant or an appointment setter, and it's increasing their monthly recurring revenue. I promise you, that's how it works. So it's an amazing service anyway. So yeah, I mean, that's important. And just have a think about like what mechanisms you want to tailor to your niche, because once again, everything links back to your niche. And then you can build your one sentence offer. Really simple. And I mean, you could implement multiple things. I'll get into the pricing. Actually, I'll get into the pricing now, because we've covered niche. We've just covered your offer basically. And if you want to learn more about offers, then you can essentially learn like the 25 cognitive biases. I don't know what on earth that 25 is, but you can learn the 25 cognitive biases. I can't bother to spell, to be honest. But that just basically, you'll be able to understand the psyche better from your clients, because at the end of the day, business is just relationships. So if you can understand what makes humans do certain things and how to make them your friend, then you'll do very well. So learn human nature, learn psychology, the 25 cognitive biases, I 100% recommend spending time doing that. And that will just make your life easier, because if you can understand their brain and how they do certain things, make certain decisions, because at the end of the day, you're just dealing with humans. Like, it's not that complicated. But now let's get into your pricing, because this is really interesting and I get a lot of questions about this. So for pricing, I'll break this down. Like, let's say I'll put a few points here. So let's say for your first client, most people, and this is why I don't really recommend watching YouTube, because there's so much conflicting information. Of course, if you're a beginner, you're going to be confused. So I personally recommend charging for your first client. And most people will be like, what the hell why are you recommending that? Surely you shouldn't charge if you don't know what you're doing. And I'll explain my thought process behind it. So the problem with a free trial or working for free is the client doesn't have any skin in the game. They're not as invested in you as someone who paid you $500 is. Even though it's not that much, $500, it's still enough to keep your client active and responsive. So what can happen is if you do free work, you're not going to get as good results as if you were to charge for it. Now, I understand it may be scary to charge a client when you're not 100% sure on what you're delivering, which is why you should probably build the bots onto your own channel, social media channels like Instagram, Facebook, SMS, or figure out how to set up the AI caller very quickly. And then once you have a basic grasp of it, then just go into a setup fee, which I'll get into in a second. And another reason why I recommend charging for your first client, just on a smaller level, so maybe like $500 setup fee and then a monthly retainer, is because if let's say I want you to do some work for me and I don't pay you anything. You're not going to be motivated. You probably won't do it to your best of ability, and it just won't be good work. Whereas if I pay you $500, you're going to take it a lot more seriously, and you'll work a lot harder, you'll learn quicker, and you'll get better results for me. So that's why I recommend charging for your first client, just on a very smaller level. It could be $250 setup fee, it could be $500 setup fee, it could be $1,000, depending on how confident you are. And then just a monthly retainer of $500. So that is really important. And that's why I recommend charging for your first client, because you will learn so much more by charging, and there's more skin in the game. So the client is going to be more inclined to actually help you because he or she has paid you some money. So for example, if you need something, you can send your client a Slack message or a WhatsApp message, and they're probably going to respond because they've paid you. Whereas I've had it in the past when I started out and I did free work and I texted a client, they're just not as invested, that they didn't even respond to me. So it highly affects your client results if you don't charge. So just charge on a much smaller level for your first client, and you'll learn the most by doing. There's only so many YouTube videos you can watch. You need to just get in there. You need to put yourself out there. You need to position yourself as the authority in the market, which I'll get into a second, and how you book appointments, how you close deals. I'm going to explain that in a second. But first, I need you to understand the pricing structure. So that is really important for your first client. You do a small setup fee. Let me put setup fee. And you can decide how much that is. So what I recommend is getting on sales calls, and I'll teach you how to get on sales calls in this video, and just diagnosing what they need actual help with. So for example, if your client needs like an IG, so Instagram, let's say Facebook, SMS, let's say they need all the channels, you could basically just charge, let me try and make this really simple, you could charge like $250 for each channel, because you've got to take into consideration usage, fees, your time for setting this up. So obviously the more channels, the more it's going to cost. So you obviously need to have some type of pricing structure where you charge $250 per channel. So for example, if they wanted that, and let's say they wanted an AI caller, you would also charge $250. So in total, it would be a 1K setup fee, we put 1K, and then to maintain it, once again, you're going to have usage costs, and they're going to have to pay for minutes paid. So you need to take that into consideration, and maybe it's a $500 retainer to start with. But obviously, as you scale, you can't just keep the low prices, which I'm going to get into in a second. So then once you're confident you can deliver, I recommend charging, depending on your niche. Once again, it highly depends on your niche, and you need to understand purchasing power versus the total market. For example, if you're in a market where there's so many people you can help and the purchasing power isn't very high, so let me give you an example of that. Let's say I was wanting to work with, let's say, agency owners. There's a lot of agency owners out there, millions probably, and most of them are probably under 25 years old. So the purchasing power isn't going to be as high. Therefore, it would make more sense to go for a low to mid ticket offer. Whereas if I was working with real estate agents in Florida, where I am right now, who are doing over 50K a month, then obviously you would go for a much higher ticket price. Very simple, but most people don't think like that. So then once you're competent that you can actually deliver on what you say you can, and you've done it for maybe 1 or 2 clients, then go for a 2.5K setup fee, and let's just say a 1K retainer. That is a decent price point. It's nothing crazy, and I'll get into how you'll be able to scale to 50, 100K a month in a second, but I need you to understand this. So at this price point where you've got a 2.5K setup fee for building it initially, and then it's just a 1K monthly fee that they have to pay on a Stripe payment link, this still isn't that scalable. Because if you want to hit big numbers, which I'm sure most of you watching this do, you're going to have to sign a freaking lot of clients to make money. I mean, if you want to hit 50K a month, you're going to have to sign 20 clients pretty much just to get that. So I'll tell you in a second how we optimize for big months. So this is a really good pricing point once you're confident and you know what you're doing. So that is honestly, really solid. So that's what I'd recommend. Now for how you hit big months, you still have the same price point of 2.5k setup fee and a 1k a month thing. However, you want to incentivize PIFs. Now PIFs are essentially just pay in fulls. Now the reason clients would want to pay in full is because they would save money over the long run. For example, I just launched a SaaS product. It's called Auto Leads, and it's basically just automating Instagram outreach. And if you go to the pricing thing, you'll know what I mean. It's a lot cheaper to pay in full for a year compared to paying monthly. So what you'd want to do is you would want to say to them, so for let's say a year of using my software, it would be, let's say 7.5k. You can pay 7.5k now, and I will set everything up. You can have it for a year, no extra fees, and it's just 7.5k now. And what this means is you only need to sell 10 people on that price point to hit 75k a month. So it also optimizes for lifetime value, which most people don't think about. Most ads agencies churn at like 50%. So if you can get people to pay in full, then you've got to weigh up the pros and cons and whether you're going to actually make more money in terms of LTV, lifetime value, because maybe your clients churn after 6 months, whereas if you get them to pay in full for a year and they save money, maybe that would be a smarter option. So you can weigh the options up. However, if you want to hit big months, that is what you would do. And then I'll get into sales in a second, but it's important you know how to present the price on a sales call. You would basically use something called incentive-based pricing. And what that means is on a sales call, whenever the prospect asks for the how much the investment is to work with you, you would basically you would use this one first. Let me actually just put first. I put a 1, as you can see. Actually, let me rub that out, and I'll put first. That is awful. Yeah, I'll put first. So the reason you want to announce 7.5k. So let's say you're the client and you ask me, Charlie, how much is it to set up these AI cold calling bots and AI setters? I would say, yep, that's a great question. So typically all it is just a one-time fee of 7.5k USD, and that would get you a whole year of using them, no extra fees added. And yeah, that's how the pricing works. And then you would just be quiet. I'm going to get into sales in a second, but I'm just telling you how to announce the price. And the reason you want to do this is because it's a total win-win. And why it's a win-win is because 5% of the market will buy when I say that. Because 5% of the market are whales. Whales are people that go to dinner and just order the most expensive steak. They're just whales, basically. And let's say they say, oh no, that's way too much. Guess what? You can then just price anchor heavily the 2.5. And what they're going to do is they're going to compare the 7.5k with the 2.5k, and they're going to think of that as a really good deal. So it's a very simple cognitive bias. And yeah, it's just a simple price anchor, but it's a win-win situation because some people buy the 7.5k straight away, and then other people will just compare the 7.5k to the payment plan option. And that is essentially what you would do for your pricing once you're confident you can deliver the service. Depending on what niche you're in, you may have to tweak these prices depending on the industry you're in. However, for your first client, you can do a small setup fee of $500 and then just a retainer of $500 just to get confident with it. And the great part about this is like there's not too much service delivery. Most of you probably know this. I ran a done for you virtual assistant agency, scaled it to like 20 clients, 20k a month. Cool. Like I was doing well, but I was completely stressed out my mind. Like this was probably like 8 months ago, because I had like 20 different VAs I was managing every single day. Like most days, one or two of them just wouldn't do the work and then tell me after, and it would just like mess up the work for the client, and it was just way too stressful. So there's not too much service delivery, which is why we can get away with a slightly lower monthly retainer than other services, which is good for you. Oh, no, it's not good for you, but it's good for the client. I mean, it is good for you because LTV should be very high. So that basically covers pricing and everything you need to know about pricing and how I would structure my AI offer if I was in your position. So now let's get into should we get into appointment setting or sales first? You know what? Let's do sales while we're on the topic, because look, it doesn't matter how good your product is if you don't sell it to people. And a prime example of this is like Vincent van Gogh, like the artist, or who's another artist? Like I can't remember. There's so many artists that were so good at what they did. They painted amazing art all over the world, but they didn't know how to sell it. So yes, they were the best, literally the best in the world at what they did, but they couldn't sell themselves. So sales is so important, and it's the skill that everyone should learn. 80% of billionaires start in sales. Really important. 80% of billionaires start in sales. So whatever you're selling, you need to understand this. And what is sales? It's basically a transfer of emotion. Transfer of emotion. So the people that are making the most money probably flex their cars or their lifestyle. Now, personally, that's not me. I don't want to do that. However, the reason they're able to make so much money is because they're not selling logic. They're selling emotion. The emotion of being the person driving the fast car. So sales is, there's honestly a bunch of great books you can read. You can read, what's it called? Persuasion by Robert, I can't remember his last name, Cialdini, something like that. There's honestly so many. There's also another one, Sandra selling like system. You can search it up. They have a Spotify podcast as well you can listen to. But yeah, sales. Let me just explain how to conduct a sales call. There's basically about maybe 5 different steps to this. You've got the report stage. You've got the questioning. So I'll just put questions. Let me zoom out a bit. You've got the offer. You've got the price. And then you've got the objections. And obviously after the objections, you've got the close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, yeah, you could argue that. Okay, let's say there's 6. Now, how this works is, for those that aren't in my school group, I would highly just recommend getting in there, because I've dropped one of the most outrageous sales videos. It's like an hour long, and it's just literally tells you how to convert a complete stranger into a buyer in like 45 minutes. So I highly recommend just hopping into my school group. Like, of course, you get like the AI caller you can sell to your clients or use yourself. You get the AI appointment setters. You get my Instagram software for basically free, pretty much almost free. You get so much cool shit for being in my school group, as well as you can ask me questions and stuff. But specifically for sales, I've got one of the best videos on the entire internet for selling. And yeah, like I've had people join my school and they've said that they've been in like 10K programs. I won't mention any names, but other agency programs. And they said that like my low ticket school videos for sales were like better than the like thousands of dollars they spent on other programs. So it's crazy. But essentially, to make this really simple, report, what the old way of doing report was like basically getting on a call in the first like 5 minutes, you'd be talking about the weather, talking about like the football game at the weekend or whatever. But honestly, that's just like not what to do anymore. What you want to do is you want to hop on a call and you immediately want to get the prospect into results-based thinking. Now, results-based thinking is basically them thinking about the results they want to get. So for example, what I do is whenever someone books a call with my closer, I tell my closer to basically ask the prospect, how did you come across Charlie? And what they're doing is they're speaking to my closer. They're saying, oh, maybe I saw his YouTube. I then found him on, I don't know, Instagram. I really like his content. And they're getting the prospect to talk about why they trust me and why they like me. So that is what I do instead of building rapport, is to get the prospect into results-based thinking off the jump. And then immediately what you would do is you would transition into a time allocation. So you would say to the person, okay, I've actually only got about 45 minutes. Is it cool if we jump into the call? And that's putting you as a higher authority than the prospect. So that's really important to announce the time. And then you would basically just say, okay, cool, let's get into the questioning part. And at any stage, if the prospect asks you a question in the questioning phase, you would basically just use an analogy of like, it's like a doctor. You go to a doctor and you would say to the prospect on a sales call, like I've said this to someone on a sales call when they ask me a question when I'm trying to see if they're a good fit or not. I said, look, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't actually know if I can help you right now. However, if I'm able just to ask you a few more questions, I would be able to get a better idea of whether this is something for you. And it's kind of like being a doctor. I don't want to prescribe you the wrong medicine. It would feel morally wrong on my end if I were to just like pitch you straight away. So is it cool if I just ask you a few more questions? That is how I would say it on a sales call. And 99% of the time, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, sorry, no, that's totally fine. They just don't understand that. So you have to give a reason. That's another cognitive bias. People are more likely to do things if you give them a reason to do it. So for questioning part, there's multiple different types of questions. You've got, basically, you've got like qualifying questions. So I'll put QQ, qualifying questions. You've got indirect amplifiers. So I talk about this in way more depth in my school video. I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. I honestly don't give a shit if you buy it or not. It's just, in my opinion, the most valuable, most affordable, cheapest option for scaling to 10K a month out there, especially designed for AI agencies. So you watching this, that's literally what I specialize in, and I love helping that specific group of people. So if you're looking to sell AI services, infrastructure offers, I highly recommend getting in there, and I'll put a link in the description. But nonetheless, going back to the questioning phase, you've got indirect amplifying questions. Now, an example of this, right, would be, let's say you jump on a call with me and I ask you, okay, so how many meetings are you booking per day right now? Now, what you notice is you're probably not booking any meetings per day. So just you having to say, oh, Charlie, I'm not actually booking any meetings. That is causing emotion. It's building up emotion in you to the point where, like, if I do that for 20 more minutes, you're going to buy instantly. And people think the pitch is when a prospect decides to buy. It's not. The prospect should decide to buy in the questioning part, because they should be like, oh shit, if I don't solve this problem and if I don't work with Charlie, I'm going to be like completely screwed. So that's the importance of the questioning phase. It's the most important part of sales. So indirect amplifiers is one part. You've got probing questions. So probing is, if you would have just said, oh, Charlie, I'm not booking any meetings, I would say, oh, why is that? In a curious tone, inquisitive tone. And then once again, you're speaking more and more. You have to say why you're not booking meetings. And me asking you why is only going to be going deeper into that pain. So then that's going to cause more emotion. And then the final one is consequential questions. So consequential questions. Put Q's. So this is basically what would happen if you didn't make X amount. So the four main questions you need to ask on a sales call is, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, by the way, is what motivated you to jump on the meeting with me today? That's the first question you would ask. The other one is, what's your biggest problem? Where are you currently monthly revenue wise? And where do you want to be? And then the fifth question is like, what's holding you back? And then what you need to do is you need to make the prospect realize the cost of not working with you before you get into the pricing. So for example, if someone tells me that they're making 10K a month and they want to get to 100K a month, I would make a joke being like, okay, so we're solving like a 90K a month problem here, right? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, that's true. And then it's in the back of their mind that it's like, really, this is like a 90K problem. So when I announce the price and it's only $5,000, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Here's my card. It's like that basically. So Yeah, like that is really important. Then you want to transition into your offer. So you would basically say then, what if they're a good fit? So you need to make sure that you ask the qualifying questions first and make sure they are a good fit. And then once you've asked all these questions, you would then say, okay, I am absolutely confident I can help you get to 100K a month. Do you want me to explain how our AI systems can do exactly that? And you want to have conviction and confidence. And they're going to be like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then you're going to pitch for like sub 5 minutes. So I'll put 5 mins and then I'll put a sub. So the reason you want to keep it less than 5 minutes and you want to talk about the end result, once again, you're selling the destination, not the plane journey. So the reason you want to keep it less than 5 minutes is because if you start talking for 20 minutes and you're talking about AI, you're talking about, oh, you use this API key to connect it to Twilio. And then if you're talking about random shit that they just have no idea about, it's going to confuse them. It's going to remove all the hard work you've done building up the emotion here. So don't do that. Just keep it less than 5 minutes. Keep it focused on the end result. And then if the prospect wants to know more about how it works, guess what? They can ask you questions. So it's better to go not enough in depth in your offer or your pitch. This should be pitch. I don't know why I actually said offer here. In your pitch, it's better to go not deep enough in your pitch, and then they can extract information they want by asking you questions. So they may ask, how does this work? How does that work? And once again, you would keep it less than 90 seconds, your response, and you would cover the end results and give them a bit more detail. And then eventually they'll ask you questions, and then eventually the price question will come up where they'll say, okay, so how much does it cost to work with you? And then what you would do is you would basically do what I said over here about price anchor the high price to the low price, or just announce the high price first. Or if you're starting out, let's say it's your first meeting, your first few meetings, you would basically say, okay, usually I would charge $2,500 and a $1,000 monthly fee. However, because you're one of my first clients, I'm able to do this for just $500 and $500 retainer. So that is what you would do. So you'd price anchor the 2.5K with the 500 because you're starting out. Or you could say that because it's a new thing or something, I don't know. You can get creative with that. So going back here, right? Let's get into, so you said the price. Now we're going to just shut up. You're basically just going to be quiet because you need to let them think. If you just start, I see it's so common. People talk for like 5 minutes. Your price, announce the price in less than 20 seconds. Maximum 20 seconds. You don't want to confuse them, once again. And then just be quiet. You need to let them think. Let them process what you've just said. And then what will happen is one of two things. So you're going to say, okay, cool, let's do it, which, once again, 5%, very unlikely. However, I've had it before where people just given me like $5,000 without thinking, or just they have so much trust in me because their action threshold is a lot lower. So everyone has different action thresholds. You watching this has an action threshold. The lower it is means the more likely you are to take action. So for example, if you've got like a 10% action threshold, you take action very easily. Whereas if you've got a 90% action threshold, you don't take action as much. So depending on their action threshold and how much they trust you, they'll probably do one of two things, either just buy or give you a few objections. And let's talk about objections. So if it's a smoke screen is I need to think about it, or I need to speak to my partner. Those are objections that aren't actually real. They're just smoke screens for something else. And the something else are going to be one of these four things. You've got money, so they don't like the money. Fear, they're scared to invest. You've got logistics, and you've got partner. Now, immediately, you should never get the partner objection, because you should have said that at the start of the call. You should say at the start of the call, and you should include that in your questioning SOP, your questioning standard operating procedure. Are you the decision maker? So you should never get this one. So realistically, it's only going to be money, fear, or logistics. And what you need to do with smoke screens is not try and push back, because the more you push, the more they're going to push away and get defensive and raise their guard. What you need to do is just ask subtle questions. You need to say, yeah, that's no problem at all. Just so we're on the same page. Is it like the money? Is it the pricing? Okay, I fucked that up. Is it the money? Is it the service that you're kind of concerned about? And then they would start to say a bit more what it is. And then all you need to do is narrow it down to like one or two things, and then just overcome that, and you'll basically make money. That's all it is. Just narrowing it down to the root cause. So I can't believe I messed that up. I said, is it money or is it, was it pricing? Yeah, I meant money, or is it like the service, or yeah, something like that. But yeah, now you've understand objections. You then should ask for the close. Once you've come to a mutual understanding, don't be scared to say, okay, so I think we've got everything out of the way. Are you ready to get started? And you just want to ask them like, hey, are you ready to do this now? And then you basically want to agree on it, send them a Stripe invoice whilst they're on a call. So I usually say, okay, so right now I'm just going to go onto my email. I'm going to send you a quick invoice. And if you can, try and fill it on the call, just in case you have any questions or you have any problems, we can sort it out here and then we can get you onboarded right now. Does that sound cool? And then most often than not, 80% of the time, they're going to be like, yeah, that's totally cool. And they pay on the call, which is really important, because if you let them like go, then they're going to like start getting doubts basically, because the longer the time elapses after a call, the more doubt that's being built up. So yeah, ask for the close, send the Stripe payment on the meeting. And then once they've paid, you would then basically schedule the onboarding call for 24 hours after they pay the invoice. And then in that time, you can send them a contract, and you would send them the contract via DocuSign. So via, let's say DocuSign. And the reason we use DocuSign is because they have a 30-day free trial, no card required, and contracts just help keep things secure. You don't have to use it, but I'd recommend it. And then on the onboarding call, you basically just want to extract as much information as you can. So yeah, like, I don't know what they're looking for. You want to, so I guess now let's just move into service delivery, because this is kind of it. So we may as well do it. So you've closed them at this point, you've sent them the contract, you then scheduled the onboarding call on the initial sales call after they paid, just so there's no like doubt. And now let's get into service delivery. So how to actually deliver this. Let's put service delivery. So when it comes to service delivery, the first 24 hours is the most important. Now, I'll give you an example. So Uber, you probably know Uber. They had a problem when they first launched the Uber app and people were paying for taxis via their app. A problem they were having, it was a bottleneck. So you'll get multiple bottlenecks in your business. It's inevitable. So a problem they were having, right, was customers were unsure whether their taxi was going to arrive in the right place on the right at the right time and things like that. So that there was uncertainty when it comes to the customer or client experience. So what we need to do is we need to eliminate any uncertainty. And how Uber did that was by placing the Uber map. So it doesn't change anything to do with the actual product or the service. Think about it. It doesn't make the taxi go faster. It doesn't make the taxi better in terms of the experience riding the thing. All it does is just provide reassurance to the customer that they're getting what they paid for. So that hopefully covers the first 24 hours, in that there's going to be a bit of doubt going in the client's mind whether or not they've made a good decision paying you. So what you need to do is in that 24 hours, you need to get them contract sorted. You need to set up have the onboarding call ideally. And you need to, so onboarding, communicate as much as possible. Tell them that they've made a great decision. So communicate and do things like that basically. Make them happy. Make it about them. A great book to read is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And you'll notice that people are very selfish. They're very, people love themselves more than they love anyone else, which is why I use people's first name all the time, because your name is like a prized possession. So I always use people's names. You'll notice if you're, I don't know, around me, and you just want to make it about them. So you want to, just build a relationship and communicate and use their name, everything like that. And then let's get into this. So for the onboarding call, I'll put some things you need to do. You need to extract info for you to deliver a great service. So what I mean is you need to get their, login details, their email, whatever you're doing, just have a think now of what information you need to get started delivering the service or the AI caller or the AI setter, things like that. So have a think. Other thing you want to do is expectations. Now, this is one that's massively missed out and normally people talk about. So expectations is basically like this. Imagine you wanted to go on a run tomorrow, and let's say the weather app told you it was going to be sunny, it was going to be an amazing day, no rain. So that's what your perception of tomorrow was going to be. But then you wake up and it's raining. You're going to be pretty pissed off. So the opposite is, let's say the weather app told you it was going to rain, and then you wake up and it is raining. You'd be like, okay, you know what? I expected it was going to rain, and you're going to go for your run. So that is client expectations. So once again, back in the day, when I was running a VA agency, I used to tell my clients beforehand on the onboarding call that sometimes the virtual assistants in the Philippines, sometimes their Wi-Fi cuts out, or sometimes they are ill because it's a third world country. So there's a few things that can, go wrong. So you want to think about all the things that can go wrong and just say, look, this probably isn't going to happen, but sometimes this happens. And that is basically what you want to do on the onboarding call, so that it's going to minimize the amount of dissatisfaction if it does take place. So that's really important. And that's what you want to do in the onboarding call. Extract info to get started, and then set expectations, and then build relationship. So just build a relationship. That's all business is. Business is just building relationships and having happy clients. And this can go a long way. So that is essentially what you want to do for your onboarding. So that is just onboarding. Now for service delivery, it's hard for me to sit here and tell you exactly what to do, because once again, you probably are providing a different service, each and every one of you, for a different niche. However, there's obviously a few that I'll put here. So for AI calling, so if you want to implement AI callers into people's businesses, then very simple. You can use Simflow, you can use Air, you can use, there's so many. You can use 11 Labs to clone a voice and then find open source on the internet. And then you could use GoHello as a CRM. There's so much you can do, which is why I recommend just building it before you get a client, and then you'll be somewhat confident. Same with the AI setters. But the thing with service delivery is you can only really learn through empirical knowledge, which is doing it. So the reason I didn't go to university and I hated school was because it was conceptual knowledge. It was learning through textbooks, which isn't really that effective. Empirical knowledge is what you want to be doing, learning as you're doing it. So that's why for service delivery, I could tell you all the things that you need to do to get great results, or you could just build it yourself right now after this video and just learn how to do it. It's not that complicated. You've got the information. There's no excuses nowadays. Or a third option is to literally just click the link in the description. I don't even like selling shit, but I'll just give you AI setters as a snapshot or AI callers as a snapshot, so you can literally plug and play it into your client's business or use it yourself. So that's another option, really simple. Just hop into my school and I'll help you, and there's other people to help you. So that is that. But for service delivery, you kind of need to learn empirically. There's not too much. However, for AI setters, I personally recommend ManyChat. Let me write this down. ManyChat. I'll put Synflow here, if I can spell correctly. You've got, ManyChat. You could also use GoHello, Zapier, and OpenAI. However, ManyChat is an actual partner with Meta. So what that means is they've partnered with Meta which means that they can provide certain automations that most softwares can't, because it's like a legitimate partnership. So that's really cool, which is why I use ManyChat. So you just play around with that. You can use voice flow. You can use so many different things. I'll probably, you know what, I'll put some tutorials on my channel. So if you haven't, just subscribe. Like, I provide tremendous amounts of value. I try to over deliver in value more than anyone else in the entire industry. So subscribe, because I want to give you more value. Basically, I want to give you service delivery tutorials. I want to give you just way more videos on AI infrastructure offers. So yeah, do that. But here are some softwares that I would use for service delivery that are also good, or you could join my school and I've done the hard work of building it for you. So that is an option. Or what you could do is you could get a client and then you could join my school. Totally up to you once you've got the cash flow. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that for service delivery. Now, the hardest part of them all, okay? It's going to be appointment setting. Appointment setting. I remember when I started, right? It took me 6 months to get my first client. Bonkers. Now, the reason it took me 6 months was because I had no idea how to set appointments. At the time, I was sending Instagram DMs, and I was doing it manually. I didn't have my software back then. And I absolutely sucked at sending Instagram DMs. I used to send like 50 a day and thought I was doing like a bunch of work. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, looking back on it, it's clear as day why I didn't get any clients and I didn't really get any meetings. So how do you set appointments? Now, here's a basic rule of thumb. Once you've got your niche, you want to find out where your niche hangs out the most. So if you're working with, let's just say, med spas. Now, the people who own med spas are going to be like 50-year-old women. Where do 50-year-old women hang out? Probably Facebook. Therefore, you want to do Facebook DMs. Maybe you want to run some B2B ads on Facebook. Play around with it. Why not have a bit of fun? So that is what I mean about figuring out where your niche hangs out. So that's why it helps to know your niche, and then just going all in on that platform. So for example, if I want to target like agency owners, I would probably want to build a YouTube system, so a content system, because I know a lot of agency owners are on YouTube. Why are they on YouTube? Because they probably have a problem. People are only on YouTube for entertainment or education. And if you're watching this, you're probably on for education. You want to learn stuff. You want to solve problems. You want to make money. So I'm immediately targeting problem-aware people. You've got a funnel, right? At the top of the funnel, you've got usually on a basic funnel, whether it's like Instagram DMs or Instagram ads, you've got unaware, problem-aware, solution-aware, brand-aware, fully aware. Fully aware is where they buy. Unaware is like where they come across you for the first time. However, I can just skip a level immediately by doing YouTube content and only target problem-aware people like you, because I understand that people are on YouTube for solving problems. So once again, how do I know that? Because I know my niche. So if you were to target like coaches, Instagram DMs, as well as having a YouTube system to position yourself. And how you position yourself is more important than any copy or any script will ever be, I promise you. Most people, so you know what I'm actually going to do? I was going to say most people think that like their Instagram script is bad and that's why they can't book meetings. That is probably 20 to 25% of your bottleneck for why you can't book meetings through Instagram. The main one is your lead quality and your profile not being optimized. Those are two more important things than your actual copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go list by list and tell you how to book meetings on each platform. So let's start with Instagram DMs, because I know a lot of you are targeting people on Instagram. First of all, you can just use my software, AutoLeads, .app. I want to put .app/home. And that will take you to my software. It's like the cheapest out there, and you can send infinite DMs for like barely anything, as well as it can send from multiple accounts at the same time, as well as it will auto switch between profiles once the account limit has been reached. So it's pretty much like an infinite appointment setting glitch using my software. So yeah, that's really important. And then for Instagram, the massive two things, as I just mentioned, imagine you've got your copy here. You've got your copy, which is the words you send to people. Obviously your offer, your one sentence offer. So I'll put one sentence offer goes into your copy. but the massive underlying factors that are more important in your copy is lead quality, because it doesn't matter how good your copy is if you're sending it to the wrong leads. And likewise, it doesn't matter how good your copy is if you haven't got a profile picture. So what you want is for your profile, you basically want 6 lifestyle photos, and you want to keep it very personal. People buy from people. If someone's going to give you money, they are investing into you as an entrepreneur first, and then the service. So if you watch Dragon's Den, or you watch any like business investing show, you'll notice that the investors invest into the entrepreneur first. And the reason for that is people are harder to change. Your DNA, your genes, your evolutionary instincts are harder to change compared to your service or your product that's easier to change. So people buy into people. So you want to keep your profile picture very personal. Have a picture of your face as the profile picture. Have 6 lifestyle photos of you at the beach, or you, if you can, try to resonate. So for example, let's say you're working with gyms, have like multiple photos of you in the gym. So hopefully you know what I mean by, because you can either resonate directly or indirectly. Directly is through message. So you're messaging them and you direct with their you resonate with their problems. Whereas indirectly would be they click on your profile and they resonate with your images. They see you at the gym. Once again, people like what's familiar to them. The mere exposure effect. It's a cognitive bias. So understand that. Understand lead quality. You want to target underexposed leads. Most people, they email, they message, they cold call overexposed leads. So you've got overexposed and you've got underexposed. Underexposed are ones that haven't been messaged too many times by agency owners or people selling stuff to them. Now, how do you get underexposed leads? And it goes like this. The harder it is to find leads, the easier it is to book appointments. The harder it is to build your offer, the easier it is to get clients. The harder your actions are today, the easier your future will be. Everything that's hard today will make your life easier in the future. So think outside the box. For example, you could easily find your main, because most people like on Instagram, they search hashtag, roofing, if you're working with roofing companies as an example, and then they just message the same leads that everyone else has searched roofing and just gone for the top leads at the top of the search engine, SEO. Whereas what you do, let's say you find a roofing influencer, I don't even know if that's a natural thing, but you find someone who is in the roofing space, and then let's say you work through their following, because they probably follow other roofing CEOs. So that is an example of finding underexposed leads. Now, in terms of lead quality, you can use once again, it depends what niche you're in, because every niche has different platforms you want to target. So if you're working with let's say e-com CEOs, then maybe LinkedIn would be the best way. And on LinkedIn, what you want to do is you want to find their profile, but then also their email. So you could use, a software called Find Email. But honestly, I'll put, there's so many you can check out. If you're struggling with lead quality or lead searching, you can check out so many videos on my channel that I talk about lead scraping. I've honestly got probably 5 to 10 videos on lead scraping, so you can check that out really easy. Okay, I'm back, and what I wanted to do now was actually show you how to build compelling copy that actually converts into appointments. So I'm going to show you how to do it for messages first. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, any type of DMs that you're going to be sending. It could be SMS. This is essentially how you do it and how you build a framework. So essentially what you need first and foremost is about a 15% first reply rate. There is no point having an amazing offer if you aren't able to get a 15% first reply rate. And the reason for that is no one is going to see your offer unless you get them to respond first. So many people, especially beginners, make the mistake of just pitching straight away in the DMs, and you'll get stuck in their requests. I promise you. I've seen over 500,000 DMs being sent from every single niche: real estate, plumbing, coaches, agency owners, every single niche you could possibly think of. We've probably sent DMs, thousands of DMs in that exact niche to leads. And this is statistically, from the data, what works best. You have to start with a opener to get a 15% first reply rate, because once they respond once, they're much more likely to respond twice. And if they say yes twice, they'll probably say yes 3 times and then yes 4 times. It's the exact same thing in sales. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to collect small yeses along the way. So to get a 15% first reply rate, it's really simple. You need an opener. Now, let me explain how to actually build an opener. So that's a horrible down arrow, but the opener consists of 2 elements. You've got the qualifying. Let me just write qualifying, if I can spell, hopefully. And you've got the qualifying, and you've got a question. Those are basically the 2 things. That's meant to be an I. So you've got qualifying and question. Those are what you need in your opener. So it should do 2 things. It should qualify the lead and also get them to respond. Those are the only 2 things. So the opener is very simple. In terms of building this, let me actually build an arrow down. So it's like this. I don't know what that is, but okay, I'm back. I just had to go do something, but now I'm going to teach you how to actually build compelling copy that converts into appointments. So if you struggle with getting reply rates on your DMs, or you struggle with just getting appointments, then this is going to solve it. I literally promise you. So this is mainly for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, SMS, many messages and DMs. And then I'll probably explain how to write emails in a second, but I just want to cover this because I know most of you guys are sending messages. So it doesn't really matter what platform. This is the approach and this is the framework you must follow. And I'm literally going to tell you how to build copy that works. So essentially, you always start with an opener. Now, the reason you start with an opener is if you pitch straight away, the chances of your prospect seeing it is significantly lower. Whereas if you ask an opening question and they respond once, they're much more likely to respond twice. We do the exact same thing in sales where we're trying to collect small yeses along the way. And we do the same thing in appointment setting. So what we're trying to do is just get a yes from the initial question we're going to ask them, and that is an opener. So the opener should get about a 15%, right here, 15% reply rate, first reply rate. So FRR. FRR stands for first reply rate, and that is done by having an opener. Now, it's important how you build your opener, because you shouldn't just copy what someone tells you to do on YouTube as an opener, because thousands of other people have watched that exact video, so the chance of it working is very slim. What you need to do is build your own opener, and I'm going to teach you how to do this right now. So your opening question should be a qualifying question, right here, qualifying. So you've got qualifying, and you've also got, it's an easy yes. Those are the 2 things you need in your opening question. So for qualifying, an example of this would be hey, I'll put name. Are you selling, I don't know, one-to-one coaching? Or are you, let's say you're working with, let me go here. Or let's say you're working with, let's say real estate. It could be, hey name, are you doing this aspect of real estate? Once again, it helps if you know terminology and you can use familiar language to your niche, because it's going to resonate better. So you want to create an opening question that just hasn't been seen before. And the whole goal of it is to just get them to say yes. That is literally the whole goal. So to do that, you don't want to have to make them think. If you ask them a confusing question, then it probably won't work. For example, another good question is, let's say, just to give you some ideas and then you can literally build your own after this video. Let's say you're working with med spas. A really good one that people used to use was hey name, do you offer injectable derma fillers? because if you're using their terminology, it's an easy yes or no question. They can just respond like that. And then when you pitch in the second message, they're much more likely to see it. So this is like just principles that won't change with time. Whereas what most gurus teach you on YouTube is just bullshit, because it's just a copy and paste script. What I'm doing right now is teaching you to actually think. So I'm not just like giving you certain things. I'm giving you examples, and then you can just make your own twist on it, make it applicable to your niche, use language that your niche use, so they trust you more when you say, like, do you offer, residential, like real estate, whatever. You can get creative for whatever niche you're in. And the whole goal is just make it really easy for them to respond to. And then once they say yes, then the second message, let me put here, second message, you would then go with your pitch. So you would then pitch. And in your pitch, this links to the one sentence offer. So the one sentence offer is where this comes in. And you would basically say something like, okay, cool. And then you would say your one sentence pitch. Maybe like, I'm looking to partner with a coach to implement AI to add an extra 5K to your MRR. And then a new message underneath that could be, there's absolutely no risk on your end. We set it up for you for completely free, and you can decide whether you like it or not. No risk on your end. And if you said that as the second message and you put that in front of, let's say, 20 people. So I'm going to get into the numbers of how many actual messages and DMs you need to send for you to actually hit like 10K a month. So I'm going to cover that. So I just need you to explain, understand this first, just so you're not confused. So here would be your one sentence like offer. Put this one sentence offer, and then a new message underneath. So still a second message, but just underneath that, you would say some type of risk reversal. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to disarm the prospect, because what's going on when you present, and once again, this is why I'm teaching you to think from the psyche of the prospect, because what's going to be going on in their head as you're saying your offer, you're typing it, or maybe you're voice noting it, which is great. They're going to be thinking, how expensive is this? Am I going to lose money? Do I trust this person? Is it going to work? Those are questions that they're going to be thinking in their head. So what we need to do is completely disarm them and just say, look, it doesn't cost anything. So we're just completely removing everything. And once again, there's less friction involved. So they can just say, yeah, cool, I'm interested. And that should be the goal of the second message, is to have your one sentence offer like this, and then just have a new message with heavy, heavy risk reversal. It's better to get them on a call and then say, I don't know, some type of setup fee, because most often than not, they've probably forgotten about this part here. So that is honestly how you structure DMs. And then once they respond to this, either they're going to do, I don't know, either they're going to say something positive or negative. If they're positive, then you could say, okay, cool. I don't know, I've got 20 minutes later this week. If you want to hop on a call, I can see if I can possibly help you. So we're not being pushy, and we're not saying like, yes, I can help you. We're saying, once again, we're just trying to lower their guard. That's all it is. We don't want to raise sales resistance. If you raise sales resistance in the DMs, then they're going to stop responding. Whereas if you say, let's just hop on a call and I can see if I can possibly help you later this week if you want, that's just a very low, like laid back, casual way, and it's more like a chat. That's what you're positioning it as. So that's really important. Once again, don't overthink that. If they don't respond to your offer, then you're going to do about, let's say, 5 follow-ups. And how you do follow-ups is not what other gurus tell you to do, because quite frankly, most gurus never have even done this before. Like, they just tell you to do stuff they aren't doing. So what I'm telling you to do literally works. So for follow-ups, you need to be doing story pop-ups. Story pop-ups are way more effective than just regular follow-ups. And you basically just react to their story whenever they post, maybe once a day for 5 days, and eventually they'll probably go to your pitch and maybe they're interested. And that is honestly, from the data we've had, the best way of doing it. However, you can be like a scientist, you need to experiment, you need to find a proof of concept, and once you do that, everything's going to be a bit easier. So that basically explains how to build copy for your DMs. And Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Most people overthink it. Like when I started, I wanted the perfect script. I wanted like to be, I was quite a perfectionist. I used to overthink. However, now what I've learned is the only way to actually make good decisions is getting data. And the only way you can get data is by putting stuff into the market. So if you don't send DMs, you'll never know what works or what doesn't work, because every niche is different, every service is different. So you need to be like a scientist. You need to constantly experiment, put stuff out there, and eventually you'll find something that will work and break through. So that's important, and that is how you build it for DMs. Now, obviously, that's not like any shiny strategies, because quite frankly, I've covered a bunch of automation and AI stuff on my channel you can check out for how to automate Instagram DMs. It's very simple. You can use my software, Auto Leads, or how to send cold emails. Very simple. You can literally buy some domains on GoDaddy for like $5, connect it to a Google Workspace. You can then use Instantly's 14-day free trial, so you don't even need to pay for anything, and you can warm up the emails, which basically means that it's going to actually send and deliver into the inbox of the prospect instead of going into the spam folder, which is 90% of the battle with cold emails. And then you can just convert to like high level, or you can jump into my school and get free high level. So there's ways around it, and there's so many tutorials out there for doing that. I just wanted this to be purely like value driven, more like static stuff. So in 6 months, people can watch this video and still know the best way to position themselves in the DMs and how to write a framework for their copy and their scripts. So that is how it works for messages. Now for emails, let me actually put this here, because I know some of you guys are sending emails. So about emails, it's once again not too complicated. You basically want a subject line that hasn't been used before, and the goal of a subject line is to get them to click on the email. I was trying to overcomplicate it, and like what I do with my YouTube videos is I try to get the viewer, before they watch my video, so they see my thumbnail, they see my title on the homepage of YouTube, I try to get them to ask themselves a question in their inner monologue. And the only way they can get that question answered is by clicking on my YouTube video. So it's the same sort of principle with subject lines. You just want to put out subject lines. You want to build just a very curiosity-driven subject line, and that is like, once again, use ones that haven't been used before. You could say like, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this?" Like, they're obviously gonna be like intrigued, because they're gonna be like, "Have I seen what?" So it's asking themselves a question, and the only way they're going to get that answered is by clicking on your email. So that is how you basically build subject lines. For the actual like body, what you want is you want a evergreen. And once again, I've sent like tens of thousands of emails, so this is by far the best one. So an evergreen first line would be like, for example, I was working with one guy in the past, and he was working with like landscapers, so people that like do gardening and things. And what we discovered was that like all landscapers have a property maintenance Facebook. So we said in the first line of the email, like hey name or hi name. You can do hi if you want to make it a bit more professional. Once again, you need to know who you're talking to. If you're talking with younger people, you can use hey. If you're using older people, you can use hi, hello. Just obviously you want their name, very important. You could say, so the thing with like emails is there's sort of 4 like principles of copy that I like to that I'll talk about now. So 4 principles. You've got a touch point. You've got a touch point. You've got obviously risk reversal, which I've talked about before, so I'll quickly explain that. You've got a fair CTA. I'll explain this, don't worry if it sounds confusing. And then the final one is like dream outcome. And I'll show you how this works right now. So those are the only 4 things you need in your email. So the first one is a touch point, because as soon as they open the email, they're gonna be like, who is this person? Where they come from? Are they like a spam person? So you want to basically, once again, disarm them. You want to say, hey name, I saw your property maintenance Facebook, for example, property maintenance Facebook, and you can say, and love the, I don't know, garden design garden designs you do. If I can actually spell, and then just, so, hey name, I just saw your property maintenance Facebook and love the garden designs you do. So notice how it's evergreen, and evergreen is basically one you can send to everyone, but it still seems personalized. Yes, you can use AI. You can set up Axiom.ai and try to scrape from their website and include that in the first line. However, this is probably the easiest way to write email copy. So that would be like the first little chunk of your email, and you only want about like 2 things like this. And the second one is going to be really small. So this is honestly like most of the email copy. You don't want to make it too long. If you make it too long, like people skim read. So what will happen is people will be reading the email, they'll skip over it, they'll see like property maintenance Facebook, that might resonate with them, and that's what we're trying to do, resonate. Compliments, obviously, that they probably haven't seen before, like garden designs or whatever. And once again, you need to get creative for your own niche. I'm just explaining the length and how to actually do copy. And for this part, this is going to be your offer. And once again, we include the 1-sentence offer, and it should be really powerful. And then after your 1-sentence offer, you basically want to then have risk reversal here, risk reversal, and then down here is the fair call to action. Now, what I mean by a fair call to action is one that isn't like, do you want to book a call for tomorrow? Because realistically, they've got no idea who you are, they don't trust you, and unless they've got a very low action threshold, they're probably not going to respond to that email. You need to have some type of lead magnet, something that intrigues them. It could be, do you want me to send you a video on how I've been able to help this other person get an extra 10 clients in 30 days? Or do I have your permission to send a quick, I don't know, 2-minute YouTube video? It doesn't matter, but you're trying to just give them something first. Give, and if you can give to the market, you'll receive back the amount tenfold in terms of like you'll reap your rewards. So that is essentially how you do it. Once again, this should be a sentence, and this should be risk reversal for no longer than a sentence. So realistically, we've only got 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences. It's like 4 sentences. That is how short your email should be, like 4 sentences, and split up ideally. So there's a line in between, like a new paragraph to make it easier to read. And that is how you write copy for emails. In terms of how you send emails, I can quickly explain. Once again, you buy from GoDaddy, so you need to actually buy. You can send from your Gmail, so it's not a bad idea. You'll need to warm up your emails for like 14 days, which is what I don't recommend doing if you're a beginner, because it costs a bit of money if you're buying a ton of domains and you're connecting it to Google Workspace, which is like, I think $8 or $7, $6 per Google Workspace. So it can start to add up basically. So that's why I recommend starting with DMs, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, SMS, cold calling. That is probably what I would go for. But once again, it depends on your niche and where your niche hangs out basically. So hopefully that helps. And so far we've covered messages for all platforms and the framework behind it. We've covered emails. Now, I mean, SMS and calling, sort of SMS links to what I just did like over here. However, calling I haven't really done. So calling, I'll give you someone to watch. There's a guy called what's his last name? Like this. That's his name. You can search him on YouTube and watch his cold calls. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm an expert in cold calling. I used to do it when I was helping coaches, but I would essentially message him on LinkedIn first as a touch point, and then I would call them up saying, hey, it's Charlie, we spoke on LinkedIn. Just wondering if you were interested in getting a few extra clients this month. That is what I used to do. I didn't do it straight cold. And I found that to work a lot better. So you can watch Andrew Clemon, however you want to say his name, and he's much better than I will ever be at calling. I cannot be amazing at everything. I'm very selective with AI, automation, sales, appointment setting, just not really calling. I've done it, however, I'm not the best. But if you're working with real estate, if you're working with roofing, if you're working with plumbers, if you're working with any person where they're an actual in-person business and you can get numbers very easily on Google Maps, then I highly suggest calling, because it probably has about a 7.5% appointment booking rate. It can be 10% if you're good, depending on the pickup rate. And once again, you need to track your metrics. So SMS is really good as well, and calling. you can check out Andreo, however you want to say his name, Climon, and he will basically give you an example of how you should be doing your calls and how relaxed you should be, the tonality, because that's more important than your actual, like what you're saying. It's 80% how you say it, 20% what you say when it comes to calling. So that is basically it for appointment setting. I think some key takeaways that I would honestly do if I had to start again would be to learn the 25 cognitive biases. I'll probably make a YouTube video on this in the future because I know it's going to help so many. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. So 25 cognitive biases, learn, what's it called? Just psychology, human nature, learn to understand the psyche, because at the end of the day, you're just dealing with humans. It sort of links to this one about understanding cognitive biases. Learn how to build offers, although I have just sort of explained that, and how you've got mechanisms that build up the main offer. And then the offer basically corresponds into your copy. And make sure you include risk reversal. For appointment setting, make sure you always sell the meeting, not the actual mechanisms. So these are just some tips, some takeaways. For like Instagram, make sure your profile is, I would spend 70% of your time on your profile, because that's the first thing people do when they receive a message. For Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it may be, they always click onto your profile, see if it's like, if you're a real person, and if they resonate with your profile, then that's going to be really good. So profile, make sure you focus on lead quality, because these are two things that are more important than the actual like copy. So those are a few things to think about when it comes to appointment setting. And now I want to swiftly move on to, the only final thing, because I've covered I've covered niche selection, I've covered offers, I've covered sales, pricing before sales, I've covered appointment setting now. I think the only thing to do is just like some key takeaways on like what I would tell my younger self if I was starting right now in this position, and just maybe like 5 things. So the first thing I would tell my younger self would be to not go onto YouTube. It doesn't matter, so not go on YT. And I want to explain why. Everyone is selling you something. Me, like, I don't care if you buy my things, but realistically, I wouldn't make all this content if I wasn't making money back from it. So everyone is trying to sell you something on YouTube, so they're going to tell you to do different things. So what will happen is it will get very confusing very quickly. And one person will tell you to do this script. One person will tell you to do another script, use this outreach method, do this content system. It's like, I made so much more money when I stopped watching YouTube and started creating, which is what I recommend everyone to do. Stop consuming, start creating. And actually that brings me on to another point. I'll tell you how to actually get, I'll tell you how to build a content system after I tell you the 5 things as well. So, don't go on YouTube. That's the first one. Especially for like this type of content. You can have like 1 or 2 people you go to, and I don't care if it's me, it could be anyone, but try not to just go on there. Use a Chrome extension called I think it's called Focus. You can actually search it up right now. It's like a simple Chrome extension that can basically just like block out all your feeds. Basically don't go on YouTube. And if you want to go on YouTube, you can do that, but do it at the end of the day and just go on YouTube for entertainment, not education. You heard that correctly. Go on YouTube for entertainment at the end of the day, once you've actually done all your work, instead of going on it for like education during the day. I see so many people do that, and it absolutely messes you up. And it's why you're not making money right now. It's because you're just using it as a form of procrastination, and you're telling yourself deep down that I'm watching YouTube, I'm doing something productive, when you know that you're just like procrastinating and not doing the high friction activities that cause resistance that you should be doing. So that's the first one. The second one is imperfect action is always better than no action. So imperfect action, I'll just put imperfect action. Even if your script isn't very good right now, even if your offer isn't good right now, the only way you can make it better is by putting stuff into the market and getting data back. So after this video, don't watch YouTube. Literally just quickly for 5 minutes, build your offer like what I've talked about, know your mechanisms, and just start reaching out to clients and just trying to work with people, even if it's for like very small retainers. Or I know I said don't work for free, but you can do that if you really want to, because you'll gain more from getting your first client than they will. So yeah, that's important. And just don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Don't be the person that sends 50 messages and gives up. You need to send thousands. You need to be ruthless. So just start sending and you'll get better and you'll fail quicker. And if you can fail quicker, you're going to do very well. And a really good quote is, psychological safety is the enemy. Urgent intensity is what we're looking for. So psychological safety is things that make you feel comfortable, things you like to do during the day. And that is the enemy. That is what we do not want. What we want is urgent intensity. You need to put your back up against the wall. And this actually leads me into point 3, which is urgency. So urgency will increase the learning curve, speed up the learning curve tenfold. So do whatever you can to create urgency. I don't care if it's like moving country. So moving country, I'll put. I don't care if it's like investing in a mentor. And once again, I don't care if it's me you give money to or someone else. Just do something to put your back up in the wall, because if you think about it, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you have shelter, if you've got food and water, and you've got a phone, it's hard to have urgency nowadays because we're so comfortable. Like, you've got a shelter, like it's raining outside. I can quickly probably actually move my camera so you can see that it's like raining outside, right? But we have we obviously have shelter, so there's nothing we actually like really need to do. So yeah, put your back up against the wall, like invest in, I don't know, give someone money, move country, and that will honestly like speed up the progress so much. And a great way to like, or a great philosophy to live by is, imagine you are writing a book when you're 80 years old on your deathbed, and live for the story. So try to make, so think about this. Think about the fact that you're 80 years old, you're about to die, you're writing a book, just like on an autobiography of your life. So the actions you do today you should make for a cool story. And I can't remember this quote, but someone said that if it's scary but exciting, do it. So yeah, that's basically it. You don't need to wait until you make X amount of money. Actually, this is my 4th point. Don't wait until you make 10K a month to be happy, or whatever your goal is. Be happy now. You can read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You can read, I don't know, other books that talk about this, and it's the law of assumption, which is basically living like you've already achieved your goals. So when you wake up in the morning, you should be happy. You should be grateful that you have the ability to work. You should be thankful that, yeah, I mean, you have arms, you can type, you have a mouth, you can speak, you have the ability to change. Not everyone had this opportunity. Jeff Bezos had to borrow $250,000 from his parents just to build his first website. So the time we're living in right now is amazing. You're so lucky to have this video that I'm literally giving you from the last 2 years of me struggling. I can just give you and tell you 5 things that I would do differently. So that's the 4th one, which is like self-image. I'll put self-image. And you're probably thinking, Charlie, this isn't like making me money, this isn't going to work. And if your belief was right, then you would all be making money. Like you would be making the money you want. So obviously something that you believe isn't true, and what you believe is what you take action on. So self-image is everything. Live like you've already achieved your goals. When you go to bed, like, I don't know, look at, I don't know, like a Stripe dashboard screenshot of 50K a month or whatever you're trying to hit. Just like act as like you've already achieved it. Very important. And the 5th one, let me have a think about the 5th one actually. So far we've got not go on YouTube. We've got imperfect action beats no action. We've got urgency, just completely, I don't know, put your back up against the wall, set your chair on fire, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, go to a different country. And okay, I've got a 5th one. And it sort of links to this one, but it's better. So it's actually going to be, oh no, what was I going to say? Damn it, I've forgotten it. It's going to be, oh yeah, so your environment. Now, actually wait, no, it's not going to be environment. It's going to be the law of vibration. Law of vibration, which links to self-image, but you'll find this one really interesting. So if you were to place a plant, now I'm going to try and draw a plant. So I apologize if this is the worst drawing you've ever seen. How do you even draw a plant? Like, I'm trying to look. Okay, I see one there. So let's just say this is like a plant. Okay, this is an awful plant, but let's just say it's like a weird, I don't know, plant like this. The place in which you place this plant, so the room you place it, the environment you place a plant into, can either make the plant grow or die. Those are the only two things. It can either, grow, like flourish, speed up the rate of growth, or it can kill the plant slowly. So that is the environment. So let me put this here. Now, the reason that happens is because of energy. The energy that's actually in the room around us. And you'll notice that if you search for this, it's true. You can actually play like classical music. Let me put this here. Classical music. And like, I don't know, maybe like 400 hertz like frequency. So you can go on Spotify right now and search for like hemisync music, like 400 hertz music, things like this. And these types of like frequencies, and a frequency is the level of vibration. And what they've discovered, scientists, is that this type of music can increase the rate of growth for the plant. And plants, just like humans, are living organisms. So if it can do it for plants, it can do it for humans. I promise you, this is how it works. If you were to take a like thermal like image of a human, you would see that energy radiates from it. And energy within the body, like before the atomic age, so before like atoms were invented and things like this, even though they've always been a thing, scientists and humans didn't know that that's how it worked. But before the atomic age, the human body, like the energy, was valued at about $34. Whereas now, scientists have done like so many studies on this that the actual hydrogen atoms within our body equate to about $85 billion in terms of like how much value they are. And there's so much energy inside us that I believe it can power like a highly industrialized country for an entire week. Think about that. Imagine like the US, imagine all the power around like, you know, the United States or the United Kingdom or Australia or wherever you're from. I don't know, Canada, India, doesn't matter. Imagine like how much power we have in our energy to power every single thing in the country. Like that is for 1 week. Like that's insane. So you're just not using your energy right. And Einstein, I'll probably make a video on this in the future. So yeah, once again, subscribe for value. But Einstein said that if you can match the frequency with the reality you want, then there's no other choice than to achieve it. So you got to understand that you're here on a certain frequency, and the law of attraction isn't really a primary law, it's a secondary law, whereas the law of vibration is a primary law of the universe. So everything vibrates, everything moves, nothing rests, everything around you is moving at a very certain vibration. And you've got to understand that you're vibrating, and the thing you want, whether it's a Ferrari, a mansion, a villa, a private jet, also vibrates at a certain frequency. So if you can match the frequency with that thing, you're going to achieve it. And there's a wavelength in between. So for example, if you had my phone number, you could easily just send a text message or phone me, and the chance of me picking up is quite high because you're on the same wavelength. So if you think about it, this is a cool paradigm shift. You just need to get on the same wavelength as what you want. And how you do that is there's a few ways of increasing your frequency. And that's the real question you should be asking yourself, is how can you raise your frequency? Because so many beginners, they're always complaining. They're already like worrying about, oh, I'm not making like 10K a month. Can't book appointments. They're stressing out. And of course, you're never going to achieve it if you're acting out of alignment with your future self and you're not understanding the law of assumption. So one way is inspired, like, let me put inspired, or just inspiration. If you look at things at nighttime and in the morning and during the day that inspire you, that raises your frequency. Another one is like walking in nature. That's a good one. Another one is like, certain music, like the one I said. You can listen to like binaural beats on Spotify, like 600 hertz music, hemisync. So certain like frequencies, obviously increase frequencies. What's another one? Another one is like exercise, but doing exercise you like doing. So yeah, once again, don't complain about it. And doing the work is another one, because once you do something, you're going to get dopamine. Dopamine is going to increase your frequency. But if it's bad dopamine, then subconsciously you'll know that I did that thing and I wasn't meant to. So it's always going to lower frequency. So doing hard work is another great way of doing it. So if you combine all of these things, another one is a massive one is being grateful. I highly recommend learning Stoicism, study Marcus Aurelius, study Seneca. Like, they are people that conquered Rome, and you're out here trying to make $5,000 a month with an AI agency. So if anything, don't listen to me, but listen to people who have literally conquered Rome. Like, think about how insane that is. So remove emotion as well. That's honestly on one of my 5 things, is to remove emotion. But you could argue that your future self has like no emotion when it comes to like doing certain tasks. So yeah, and that is honestly the 5 things. And now quickly what I wanted to talk about was building a content system. And I've made a video on this in the past, and I think you guys liked it. It was essentially on Dan Coe and other people who are like massive creators. And basically, when it comes to building a content system, what we want is to put very minimal effort in and be able to reach thousands of people out there, basically, on the internet. So how we do that is you want to have I'll explain this. So for example, my content system right now is like YouTube at the top. So YouTube right now, like this video, I have to spend almost like 2 hours recording this. So that is what I put most of my effort in. But then from my YouTube videos, I can turn that into a transcript. So a transcript is basically I'm sure you know what a transcript is, unless you're like 10 years old. It's basically where you just like the writing of what I'm saying. So that transcript can then be turned into like tweets. The tweets can be turned into IG carousels. And the transcript can also be turned into an email newsletter and send it to my newsletter list. So do you get what we're doing? We're basically doing one thing, and then that can be turned into like multiple other things with minimal effort. And that's how you build an actual system. Another one, like Dan Coe, which I'm sure you know, he basically spends like 1 to 2 hours a week. So 1 to 2 hours a week. And what he does is he writes an email newsletter. So let's just say he writes an email. That's all it is. He writes an email, and it's about 1,000 words. And with that 1K words, so it's 1K words, he turns that into like tweets. He obviously sends it to his email newsletter. So that's instant, like, I don't know, let's say 10 or 50 or 100,000 people just have been reached at a click of a button. And then he turns the tweets into IG posts. He then turns those IG posts into more YouTube ideation. So topics for YouTube videos. So YouTube ideation. He then makes YouTube videos. So YouTube. He then makes IG shorts from those YouTube videos. IG reels. But he also makes YouTube shorts. So you get the point basically. You do one thing and that can turn into multiple different things. And that's how you build a system. Grant Cardone makes $500,000 a day. And I think someone did the maths, but he posts like 50 shorts. No, not 50 shorts. 50 short form content, pieces of short form content every single day. 50 pieces of short form content a day. He's got a massive team for scaling his organic reach. So you basically want to do the same thing. I recommend everyone creating YouTube videos. The reason for that is because, I personally believe YouTube will set you free. I think that YouTube will be the thing that will, it has the highest return of investment for your time. You make one YouTube video. I make this video right now. It takes me a few hours, sure, but it can reach thousands of people. So YouTube is amazing. You're targeting problem-aware people. So people on YouTube are either on it for education or entertainment. So we can immediately just target people in the B2B space who are problem-aware, meaning that they understand they have a problem and that's why they're on YouTube. So if my video comes across, it's great for client acquisition because they're already in a bit of pain. So YouTube is amazing. The thing with YouTube, I'll give you some tips. You basically want to, it's more about raw volume nowadays. So you don't need fancy thumbnails. You don't need fancy edits like what I'm doing now. You just need to be able to get out 4 videos a week minimum. I probably do 3 videos a week. I used to do every day. But the reason I do every other day now is so I can actually make my videos a lot better quality. So yeah, you want to get out a ton of volume and consistency for personal branding, just like the stock market. For personal branding, content and the consistency around it has a massive compounding effect, greater than anything I've ever seen in the world. And Einstein believed that compound interest was the greatest thing to ever exist. So with content, how it works is you could post 20 videos, not a single will do well. And then the 21st will pop off, get 10,000 views and boom, you just made 10 grand like that. That's how it works. Same with other things and YouTube and building a personal brand. I think Warren Buffett said this, that he said that the stock market is a device for transferring wealth to the from the impatient to the patient. So the same with YouTube. YouTube is a device for transferring money, wealth, abundance from the impatient to the patient. Those who can stay on it for a year and post every single day on YouTube, it's going to be very hard not to make 6 figures from that. If you're in the business, entrepreneur space, and you have some type of character and you know what you're talking about, it's very hard not to make a lot of money. So that is basically what I would say about YouTube. And the other thing with content is, besides posting an absolute shit ton, you need a free lead magnet. So a free lead magnet, that's what I'll put here. So for example, I've got a free course. You can literally check it out. It'll probably be in the description. Full transparency. I use that to get data and then to send you more value via email, mainly just email to be honest. I can just send you my newsletter, send you emails once a week. So that is what you want to do. You want to create a free lead magnet because people love free stuff. So that is essentially what I would do if I was in your position. So a bunch of content. Ideally, you want to post on 2 platforms or just become very good at one platform. So I'm very good at YouTube. I've learned a lot about the algorithms. I've studied it. Whereas Instagram, I'm lacking. So I'm trying to get better at Instagram, post more consistently. But you'll notice that if you go to my Instagram, you'll see a free lead magnet in the bio. And that's an easy way to get an extra 5 to 10 leads per day that you can actually collect data from. So it could be a free training. It could be a free training. It could be a free course. I don't know, you can get creative. It's whatever your niche would value most. And I've actually made a video about how to create the perfect video sales letter. So how to sell with this. So you can check that out after this video if you want. But yeah, that basically covers it for content. And for mindset, I think just try and be grateful that you have the ability to learn information like this and you have the ability to change your current situation, because not everyone has this ability. So if you can do that and you can work very hard and you kind of get what you think you deserve, So if you generally deep down think you deserve to be making 10K because you've worked really hard, then you'll probably achieve it. Whereas it's quite hard to do that. So just try to focus on the inputs. So the day-to-day things that you can do now rather than the actual main goal, because that is out of our control. We can't control the money we make. However, we can control as entrepreneurs the things that we do every single day that over time on a big enough time scale will compound and lead to those end results. So they'll come as a byproduct, but you can't think of that basically. So hopefully you found this video valuable. Now, if you want just to speed up the process 10 times, then I've got a school community, and hands down, in my opinion, it's by far the best one out there. And I'll tell you why right now. Let me actually go to it so you can see what I'm talking about. So my school community, as you can see right here, like I'm not even like trying to, like the thing is, I've gotten to a point where I don't need to tell you to buy this. I can just go on here and you can see people signing clients. Yazan, what a turnaround. I spent my last 1.5 years working in the mines in Australia to save up the cash to give me a safety cushion to start a business, and he's got a client. And he was working in the mines in Australia. I've literally just logged on to my thing. We can see Ruben's killing it. He just closed 3 clients in the last 2 weeks. Like this guy signed my first client on Go High Level, $4,000 Canadian. He just collected upfront like that. So I don't need to, tell you to like do this. You can see that it's real. You can see that we have, coaching calls every week. The content's amazing, but that isn't even the best part. The reason so many people join my school is because I give you actual systems. I do what no one else is doing in the entire market. I understand the importance of building an amazing product. So you get free Go High Level software, you get done for you automations, a 24/7 AI appointment booking bot, you get an AI cold calling snapshot plus system, you get like my funnel, you literally get infrastructure, you get done for you systems that you can use yourself and then sell to clients. So for example, instead of you paying for Go High Level, which is like a CRM, which is a customer relationship management to manage your clients, you don't even need to pay for that software. Join my school and I'll give it to you. The reason I'm able to do that is because I already pay the maximum price for it. So I don't need to, I get unlimited accounts. So I can just give you accounts that you can use for your clients. And there's literally like no limitations to it. So you actually get, done for you things as well, which no one else will do. Like it's insane. So I highly recommend joining this, and I'll be able to help you. I'll help you build your offer. It'll speed up the process tenfold. And yeah, if you like this video, just like and subscribe. If you don't want to join the school, that's totally cool. Once again, I don't like to sell things. I just want to give you the information, and then you can decide whether you think it's a good idea to join. I'm not going to push it. That's not what I do. That's not what this channel is about. I just love helping people and changing lives, as you can see in the school community. So if you don't want to join that, that's cool. Just like and subscribe and comment literally whatever videos you want next, because I'm going to be constantly dropping free value on this channel. Once again, I'm on a mission to make it so you don't have to pay for 10K programs, courses, bullshit things that just won't help you. And I want to give you it on this channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is just the start. I'm going to put so much value onto this channel to say thank you for, watching and subscribing and viewing my videos. And I'll catch you in the next video. Have an amazing week and take care.